Is the most insane situation you witnessed at school? When I was a freshman, we had a problem with a gang in our school. They were mostly wannabe thugs who went around intimidating everyone else. Real gang members. Everyone else hated them, but we were all afraid to do anything about it. Because if you messed with them, you messed with all of them. Even teachers and administrators didn't want anything to do with them. Whatever punishments they handed down didn't faze them. They didn't care about school or graduating. So what effect does a suspension have? They only went in the first place because the law said they had to attend. They basically had run of the whole school, tyrannizing everyone and everything in their path. One day, one of the gang members picked a fight with a senior who was in the show choir. The guy was one of the nicest guys you ever met. His name was Curtis. He didn't provoke the gang member, but the gang member decided he had a problem with Curtis. Instead of letting the gang member punk him out, Curtis squared up against him. With a few well-placed punches and no formal martial arts training, Curtis took down the gang member, who had a wild, sloppy street fighting style. Everyone was stunned. The gang member was humiliated. And that wasn't good, because B now had a problem with everyone else in the gang. Amazingly though, instead of the standard suspension for fighting, the school administrators didn't do anything. They pretended it never happened. They didn't even call him into the office. B was already a hero to the rest of us, a legend. Sure enough, the gang began to harass Curtis, calling him out in the hall, calling him names for being in the show choir, each taking their turn trying to provoke him. A few days went by when the next toughest dude confronted Curtis in the cafeteria looking for a fight. He pushed Curtis, who initially acted like he didn't want to fight. But when he pushed again, Curtis squared up and with 2 punches, knocked gang member number 2 to the ground before the guard could break it up. The cafeteria was silent. Everyone was stunned. Once again, no repercussions for Curtis. He had now taken out 2 of the 3 toughest guys. The rest were mostly wimpy followers who didn't pose a real threat and would scatter like roaches. Everyone knew the badass, Jason, would come for Curtis. Now it was just a matter of time. A few more days went by before the final confrontation. I had the fortune of being front and center for the last round. I was walking through the hall with my friend when I heard Jason yell for Curtis. He knew it was coming. Jason was bigger and heavier than Curtis. It looked like David and Goliath with scrawny Curtis just standing there, not talking, facing Jason. Curtis dropped his books, and it was on. Jason swung wildly and Curtis avoided most early throws, but Jason landed one that knocked Curtis down. He popped up immediately and when Jason went for the knockout, Curtis came through with an uppercut so solid Jason's head flung up in a stream of blood, splattering the wall. Jay was down, tried to get up but couldn't stand. He staggered and fell back down. It was over. I stood right in front and watched the whole thing. It was one of the most beautiful things I've witnessed. Curtis, a normal nice guy with no training or fight history, single-handedly beat the 3 biggest guys in school. The gang was decimated, their street cred destroyed by a guy from show choir. That was the most messed up thing I saw in school, and it was beautiful.